Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to Man Knows Football. You're here with myself, Guni, and Younes. Big up to everybody in the chat that has been waiting. Yeah, make sure you smash the like button as you come in, and if you are new, hit the subscribe button as well. Let's get us back on track for this road to 20k. Let me just see a few of your comments. Chamira says the board didn't tell Lampard which deadwoods to pick for matches. He's sunk Everton and now he's doing the same thing to Chelsea. He's simply not good enough. Regardless of who the manager is at Chelsea, we are finished as a club as long as these owners are here, but they don't know what they're doing and they don't want to get out of the way. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, Tobias. Asking where the next win is coming from. Won't win another game under Lamps. Lamps is destroying Lampard. I think he meant Lamps is destroying Chelsea. The board brought him on, but the choice of a working system for the boys on the pitch is down to Lampard. Legend of a player, but absolutely abysmal as a coach. But we did read out a few comments there. Got a few thoughts early on in the stream. Yeah, just to get the kind of environment as to what's going on in the chat. But Younes, how you doing? Good to have you back on stream, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Slept on what happened last night. I saw your video. Top class, by the way. So if you somehow haven't seen Guni's match reaction, make sure you do after this. And yeah, slept on it. Then done all you can eat. So spoke with the other lads and got a complete refresher. So now I feel exactly like I did last night. I'm still not happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to look at it, and
There's no avoiding it.
you know, just speaking about my post match yesterday, a lot of that was obviously anger fueled, and this is why I'm not, and I get advised by a lot of you guys, put your video out as soon as possible after the game. But that's one of the reasons why I don't consistently do that, because I am a bit of a hothead, and right after the game is obviously when emotions are fresh. But I know that's what people like to see. Yeah, so once in a while, I do like to get them out. But yesterday, it was just a case of Younes, bruv. I know Lampard's a bad manager. I know he was a terrible choice. But it still doesn't mean it don't hurt to watch my team get humiliated week in, week out, sinking without a trace. Yeah, knowing we're going into games at this stage saying, like, the best result we're going to get is a draw. And even still, we're holding our breath for that. It gets tiring.
Exactly. Fam. Yeah, bro. I mean, I said this earlier, right? When you're looking to Chelsea versus Brentford as a fixture, yeah, Chelsea versus Brentford at Stamford Bridge, and then you get your phone, you see the lineup is out, you look at the lineup, and you go, "We've lost." Before ball's been kicked, I mean, how far have we dropped? It's flipping outrageous. And as you've said, for the sake of seeing our club like this, for the sake of us, and you know what? Like I said in my video yesterday, even for Lamps, man, even for someone like him, like, to see this happen, just end it, man. It's painful. It's painful. Like, his own legacy is now getting touched. Every single aspect is just wrong. So, yeah, it's not nice at all, man. It's really not. Even with nothing to play for, it still stings.
And something that I was afraid of when Lampard was hired is it's not even about the results. It's the fact that this guy, obviously being a manager, is going to be the front man to hold the brunt of obviously our unhappiness or how we feel. We're going to voice it through the manager. Naturally, that's just how the game goes. But
I mean, it's justifiably so, in essence, because, you know, yeah, there's players, and I do believe that there's players that are not good enough, but when you're talking about every single person in the entire squad dropping to this level, nah, man. You look at the decisions that Lampard is making. It's criminal, man.
It is. It's shocking, and it's like when you really sit down and just take a step away from it and just, it's not even Lampard's fault, because for the pure purpose of, he shouldn't even be sitting there making those decisions in the first place.
I agree.
So that's
I
why
agree.
I've titled this "Blame the Board, Not Frank Lampard." Now, obviously, I've gone at Frank Lampard out of frustration and out of just pure stupidity because there are choices that I'm seeing he's making, right? I don't have a coaching badge. You don't have a coaching badge. Most people in the chat don't have a coaching badge. But some of the choices are so blatantly and overtly ridiculous that at some stage you have to ask yourself, how is this man being compensated 5 figures to make these decisions a week? 5 figures a week, roughly. I don't know what he's getting, but I imagine it's in that ballpark. I mean, these football players are getting 6 figures a week, bro.
I was expecting 6.
Oh, 6? Maybe. I don't know. I
was
maybe,
expecting that.
But even still, that's even worse. And you're making decisions that somebody who's training to get their level 1 badge wouldn't even make because it doesn't make no sense. 3-6-1 again against Brentford, bro.
Bro. This is where, like, and look at the personnel again. You know, the formation is one thing, and then when you look at who he's actually gone with, it's like, oh my god. You know, it's actually mad. If I'm not mistaken, correct me here, because I've tried to find it and I can't. I found it for John Terry, even though he's not managed. I found it for others, but I can't find it for Lamps. Has he even got his pro license? I don't think he does.
Well,
Now,
there was rumours floating around that he doesn't, and by the looks of it,
he's got his A license. I think he's got his A license. I don't think he's got a pro license.
Well, who's the brother over there at Reim in League One who doesn't have his license?
Yeah, Will Still.
Yeah, this man. But he's getting results, fam.
He's getting results. This is the thing. You know, you look at Gerrard, for example. Gerrard's got his pro license. So it's like, does it really, really mean much when you think about it?
Yeah, you know.
So, but it's just it's an observation and it's a point to make. I don't understand the decisions that he comes out with. And what's crazy, I said this yesterday, for someone who was so bright as a player, you know, and for someone who's so well spoken about by the best managers on the planet as a player, but as a professional and as a person, how do you come to the consensus of some of the decisions that you've made? I don't understand. It doesn't compute. It like 2 + 2 equals 7, not even 5. It just doesn't add up. How he sees it, I don't know. Is it because that he knows he's just here for a little bit and he's gone, so he's just willing to do whatever risk taking he feels like is a risk take? I genuinely have no idea. To go with the personnel that he's gone with, for example, is baffling.
We speak about risk as well, yeah? And we'll isolate this in specific for Frank Lampard. This man is never going to be Chelsea manager ever again in the future. And I'm sure he knows this. And if he doesn't, then he needs his head checked at this stage. He
Probably not even manager.
Exactly. He will never, ever come anywhere near this close to this first team again. You are an interim manager. Why would you not take risks now? This is the point in your career where you can take as many risks as you want. But to be as... I don't even know if at this stage is risk adverse or it's just purely he thinks that's what's going to work tactically from a goal scoring perspective. It's so bad, it's baffling. I can't even get my head around it. You're supporting an attacker who, first of all, is having stinky performances on the pitch anyway. Doesn't want to be at the club at Chelsea, right? And is not even naturally a central attacker like that to begin with. And then you're supporting him with Conor Gallagher and N'Golo Kante.
How does it make sense? This is what's crazy. Like, we can see that. We can see that. How has he not seen that? Like, I don't get it. What is the reason? And his press conference, I mean, after the game, I mean, bloody hell, man, that stunk up the gaff. I don't know about you. I don't know have you seen it?
Yeah, well, I've got some quotes from there. So
because there's the interview and then there's the press conference. Like, a lot of people saw the interview, didn't see the press conference. The press conference is actually where my jaw dropped. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. You know, for example, tactics apparently wasn't an issue yesterday.
Ridiculous.
What? How was that not an issue when you actually look at how Chelsea were advancing with the ball and who the personnel were advancing in certain areas? And every time we repeat the action, it's completely different. It's changed. Players are completely shifted and moved across the board. How is that not a tactical problem? You know, the personnel, as I've said, Matisse said this very, very eloquently as well in his video, where if Lampard had actually decided to go with a fairly decent attacking lineup, right, at home against Brentford, and you think about putting in players that you know in your head might actually be utilized by the next manager, or player that does need minutes, or players that need to gel together because there's an emphasis on them maybe being the direction where Chelsea are going. You'd think as an interim that's where you would go. If he had implemented those sort of players and that sort of lineup and lost, he wouldn't have been blamed as deeply as he's getting blamed right now, because yesterday just seemed like a sabotage. But if he had gone, for example, with a front three of an actual striker and you went with Mudryk and you went with Madueke, right? People will be like, yeah, cool, we agree. That's the best you can do. Fair enough. And then if we'd lost, people won't be looking and going, oh no, Lampard's lineup was all over the place. You know? Because at least then you're looking at the players that are getting selected, or the way that we're trying to advance, or who we're trying to combine together. That is an outlook on where Chelsea might be heading for the future, what the next manager might be looking to implement, and preparing, because we got nothing to play for. So it's the right thing to do. But he doesn't do that. He goes with Gallagher and Sterling and Kante as an attacking midfielder, bruv. It's criminal. When you look at the bench and it's stacked like that, and the moment we actually concede, then you go and call upon those lads who are being deemed as the unfit ones because you're playing the ones who apparently are willing to give for the badge and who are fit. Doesn't make any sense.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Doesn't make any sense. We can see the second goal. All right, get the next batch on. Who should be on the pitch already? Doesn't make any sense, man.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I don't know.
The game was lost before we even kicked the ball, man. When I saw that formation, I had zero faith anyway. But big up Damien New for the super chat. Big up to Guni and Younes. Yeah, man. Big up yourself as well, my brother. Exeter 1985 as well. Thank you for the super chat. Has the ownership made one decision that turned out positive? Further, what does Chelsea do if Poch says no to Chelsea? Poch said previously that he will not manage at a rival of his previous clubs. I'll let you answer that, Younes.
He did say that, and I remember when he said that. But no, I mean, look, realistically, I'd expect him to take the job. But and I don't know if you're on the same wavelength, but I hope it doesn't get to a point where he starts second doubting himself or second doubting the job or going, no, you know what? We've lost to Brentford. We know what's going to happen on Tuesday against Arsenal. At that point, I hope he doesn't go, no, you know what? I don't want a part of this. Like Nagelsmann did or like any others did. I hope he doesn't, because if he does, well, at that point, there's a problem. At that point, it's who the hell do we turn to? Because Poch is the only sort of feasible one that's out there. At least to an extent where you look and there is a level of respect, at least, compared to all the other ones that are available. So I don't know. I hope that is nailed on ASAP. ASAP. Get it on the dotted line as soon as possible, because the game's coming up. You best believe we are losing them.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Arsenal on Tuesday away as well. Do you know what I mean? Away at the Emirates, and they've just come off the back of a battering. They are still top of the table, all things considered, but I imagine not for much longer. So in their head, there might very well be something to play for. So it might be a humiliation, a team that I don't like to lose against, and is certainly not looking good right about now. But Vic said in the comments that you cannot manage in the Champions League without a UEFA Pro license. So yes, Lampard has a UEFA Pro license. So just about. But I want to go through some news about Frank Lampard that's been reported today. So first of all, as many of you know, Sky Sports have come out and said Lampard will continue to be Chelsea's caretaker manager until the end of the season. But I just wanted to also talk about some of the comments that he said after yesterday's results. So with 4-3-3, we looked more dynamic and more of a threat in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the second half. But there is still that feeling around at the minute that the goal might not come and the opponents might get something. We have to work against that. We'd love a magic wand or a magic moment, but it doesn't come in football. So we'll have to fight for that moment. What is he talking about?
There is no personal accountability in anything that he says. Nothing.
It's worse than Graham Potter.
Yeah. I never thought we'd get there. Like, not in a million years. But I was like, oh yeah, no, we'll end up worse than we were on the Potter. Because that was low. But this is just taking the mick.
Didn't he use that magic wand excuse when he was at Everton as well?
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh, so is that his the boys gave everything sort of equivalent? I wish I had that magic wand. Well, he might need to liaise with Potter because he might get a little bit of Harry out of him.
Bruv, listen, he just needs to leave it out. So, Frank Lampard, since he's taken over, 5 games, 5 losses, 9 goals conceded, and 1 goal scored. And there's a massive caveat with that 1 goal scored. Conor Gallagher, deflected strike against Brighton. That's the only goal that we scored this month. So naturally, it's going to be Chelsea's goal of the month. But it came off a deflection. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only goal we have scored this month. Let's think our minds back to 2017, 2018. Yeah, when a man called Frank de Boer took over Crystal Palace.
God.
He lost 4 in 4 games, conceded only 7 goals, and they sacked him.
Was it 4 in 4? Or was it 7 in 7?
He lost 4 out of 4 games. It says here, from what I'm reading here, it says he lost 4 out of 4 games and conceded 7. Maybe they're talking about his last 4 games before he was sacked.
Potentially then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even Jose took the mick when De Boer tried to open his mouth and he was like, I don't lose 4 on the bounce. Now we're at 5 and 5. Lampard's broken that. Fantastic.
Unbelievable stats.
Yeah.
So,
but and it's not. This is the thing. Like, we're talking about that stat. It doesn't end there. We're not done. Like, this is what's scary, bro. We're not done. We got Arsenal on Tuesday. We got Bournemouth and Forest, who on paper would look easy. Then again, well, so would Brentford. Nottingham Forest, that done a job against Brighton last night. Fair play to them. Didn't expect that one. Bournemouth, who have actually gone to top teams and actually done a bit of a madness.
Even when we are on form, there's no guarantees with Bournemouth.
There we are. And we got City and we got United and we got Newcastle. Bro, this is the thing. Like, it's got to the point, and I'm not the only one because I've seen others do the same, and I've heard like others do the same. And you know what? We're all in the same wavelength. I don't blame them, and I can understand why they've done it. I did it this morning. I was like, yo, you know what? I need to actually calculate if we are going to get relegated, right? So I went onto a Premier League predictor, and I started predicting all the games, not just Chelsea, but all of them, realistically in terms of how I see it going, and to see at the end of the season where we will actually end up if we were to lose all our games, right? And thankfully, getting relegated is maybe just a little bit too away, too far from us. I predicted that we would end up 4 points above safety, and we'd be in 15th. So and that's only because Leeds and Everton have a tough run-in, and their games are looking a little like they're not going to win certain games. I just don't see it. So if that happens, then we can't go down. But because of the games that we have, we would end up 4 points above safety. So if we had another 3, 4, 5 matches of the season, we'd be in trouble.
Or if Thomas Tuchel was sacked a little earlier.
Or that.
Yeah,
we're lucky.
Had some serious problems, bruv. Yeah, it's a whole shit show at Chelsea at the minute, man, and it's just hard to take, honestly. But Kevin Tang, thank you for the super chat. And this is a very good point. I just don't understand how an ownership that prides itself on data analysis came to the conclusion that Frank Lampard is the right hire to make. Which beggars the question for me, did the recruitment team all come to a consensus and make this decision and present this to Todd Bowley and Bedadik Bali? A strong part of me refuses to believe so, which only leaves one other option.
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably picked him on a knee-jerk thing.
Frank Lampard was brought in to shut us up.
Exactly.
It was to appease. It was to appease supporters. That's it. To calm people down. Club legend. Oh, he's going to get respected. Nice one. Let's calm it down a bit. Because the only reason why they sacked Potter was because the fans were getting too hostile. If not, they wouldn't have sacked Potter in the first place. They would have kept going. If everyone was quiet, right, Potter would still be in a job. But because everyone started, the match-going fans especially, started doing what they were doing, getting noisy, constant boos, talking to Bowley across the stand, what's going on, hostility beginning. All right, look, we're going to have to take action, get rid. What are we going to do? Let's get Lampard in. Now, this is the thing, right? Because I've heard that there are certain decisions that are actually left to the new recruitment team and the directors and whatnot, or are these guys actually getting overridden and overpowered by Todd Bowley and Egbali and all those guys? Now, whichever way we go, if it's the owners making these decisions, they're not letting anyone do their jobs and they think they know best and they don't. And if they are actually letting the other ones do their jobs, then these guys are underqualified, it seems. So whichever way we go, someone has to be blamed big time here for this, and who thought this was a genuinely good idea just for the vibes. And we've not even got a proper goal out of Lampard yet. It's just
Let's look at Frank Lampard's last 19 games as manager. Do you want to know what the statistics are?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. 16 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win.
Yep.
Let me repeat that. 16 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. If we were to say they were all league games, out of a possible 57 points that could have been collected, he picked up 5.
Oh, 5. Oh, okay.
2 draws.
I thought it was 1 win and 3
win.
draws.
No,
2 draws. Oh, okay.
2 draws and 1 win.
I'm giving him a bit too much credit then.
In what world do you hire a man with this record?
Bro, his managerial career is finished. It's done. And it's actually painful to say that, because we genuinely love Lampard for what he's done and for who he is. I would love for him to be best thing since sliced bread. He's just not. He's just not. And with this record, I'd be damned if I saw a club actually think, oh, you know what? He might be the guy. I think he's in trouble. Big trouble. In terms of managing, I think he's toast. Head back to the punditry box.
Yeah, absolutely. Or be an advisor in recruitment or something, because this management thing certainly is not for you. And I'll be very, very surprised if he gets hired by any club in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe. I'd be very, very surprised if he did. I mean, I'll always wish him the best of luck. Yeah, but he's definitely outstayed his welcome at Chelsea. He's in a bit of a... Bruv, I don't know. In normal circumstances, which we never find ourselves in at Chelsea anyway, so it's a bit of a myth, flawed statement in itself. But I would ask for this man to resign. I would just say, Lampard, please, just mercifully, just do this for us. Make it easy for the fans, make it easy for yourself, make it easy for the club, and just step away from this. But the reality is, the manager we're looking to hire long term has no intention to come in straight away. How do you feel about that, by the way?
I hear both sides of the argument. I can understand it. And personally, I am honestly leaning more towards just wait until the end of the season.
Yeah.
I get why people would be like, no, let's start with Poch now. I understand that. But at the same time, it's very volatile. If he wasn't ex-Spurs and, someone that I know half of the fan base I'm not very pleased to have, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Bring him in now. But imagine we start off with Poch. He starts off with this squad. We go to City, we get chopped up into pieces. We go to United, we get chopped up into pieces. We have Newcastle at the bridge, we lose, for example. And
Yeah.
Poch is in charge. That's already a negative start, even though he's not really accountable to that. But I just want to avoid that because reality is reality. Right now, we're not picking up any sort of points. So, I'd wait. Personally, I'd wait.
Yeah, the pressure on him is ridiculous enough as it is. He's got
Also, I do want to say sorry about Lampard resigning. Some people are going to be like, "Nah, there's no chance he would do that," and I, to an extent, agree because money's money. If you resign, you ain't getting paid unless you come to an agreement with the club. Gattuso done it at AC Milan, right? When
I remember
Gattuso
that,
was he's there for 18 months, right? He wasn't even there as an interim. He was there as gaffer, right? 18 months in, he decided to resign for the sake of the direction of the club and the results. And he's like, I need to step away because it's just not working. And I don't even want to get paid.
That's an honourable guy. That's something that you're just never gonna see in football, especially in the Premier League. You're like, fuck that, I want my money. And so Lampard's gonna be looking at that situation, and 99% of these managers, unfortunately. But that's an honourable move from Gattuso. That's a man that can actually say he loves AC Milan, and it's never been about the financial gain of it, man. He's doing it for the love of him. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to Gattuso for that. Exeter 1985, thank you for the super chat. People are saying, how is Chelsea going to sell enough players to meet financial fair play rules? I am saying, how does Chelsea find 11 quality players to be competitive next season? That's an interesting super chat, that one. Well, in terms
he's not wrong.
In terms of selling enough players to meet FFP, I think there are several that we can get rid of and will get rid of that will solve the problems. I mean, Conor Gallagher, we know, will be up for sale. I imagine Christian Pulisic is going to be leaving. Ziyech, although we're not going to recruit too much back from him. Trevor Chalobah, I know, is going to be looking for a way out of the club. That's already 4 players. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if Loftus-Cheek is going to go, although we're open to selling him. It's just about getting the interest around him. Azpilicueta's got some interest. So several players there where we can get some bread from. But in terms of finding 11 quality players to be competitive next season, it's not going to happen. And personally, I don't think that's what's needed, to be honest, Younes. What do you think?
Yeah, this is the thing, because I don't think that we're going to go and try and find 11 new players. The one thing that concerns me is the whole FFP thing, and if we have a deadline to sell players by June 30th, you're not putting yourself in a great negotiating position from the get-go. At that point, clubs know. They're not stupid. That you got a deadline. Now if there's no competition for a certain player, they've got all the leverage. And you got to go on their terms. So I expect players to go for a little bit under the value of what they actually are. Not too much, but I think we will have to, cut a little bit just to sell, because we have to. But in terms of getting new players in, I think ultimately, when you look at it on paper, especially, what do we need? We need a striker. We need a DM.
I honestly think we're 3 or 4 players away from becoming a decent team. And the reason why I give those such few numbers is because the area that we need to address primarily is our spine. Our spine is flimsy as hell right now. We ain't
got a spine.
Exactly. We need a new goalkeeper, which is what apparently Pochettino has agreed with. We don't need a new centre-back, thank goodness. We're stacked in those. We need a new DM. You saw the news, Lavia news again, this time reported by Romano. My boy Darko's been getting that one from early. Central midfielder, also Manu Kone was thrown in there. Another one my guy Darko got early as well. And then we need another striker. See, once those 4 positions are addressed, I think that we've got a very good basis to at least get top 4 next season and go on a very good trophy run, if not win a trophy, in my honest opinion, or we should be.
We should, and that should be the expectation. The problem is also the damage that's been caused from this season, even mentally, because these players are destroyed.
Yeah.
There are players here, I'm sure, that are destroyed. To try and get them back to a level is a hell of a job from Pochettino. He's going to have to work some sort of miracle here, at least in the short run. I do believe that in terms of getting players to grow, Poch is capable. But I don't know what the fallout will be from a season like this. We've not experienced it before, so I hope they're not mentally completely destroyed to the point where it's going to take seasons for them to get back to where they should be. Because at that point, as we said, we can't change all 11 players. There needs to be a spine built 100%. And the other concern is Lukaku.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We haven't spoke about Lukaku, have we?
That's the other concern, bro. Because these new owners and who's at the club now weren't there when the whole Lukaku stuff happened. That was us as fans. That was Tuchel. That was Roman and Marina.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't Bowley and Igbali and Winstanley and Stewart and all these guys. It wasn't any of them. Vival, no one was there. So for them, I don't feel like it's that much of a bigger deal like it is for us because they weren't there. For them, they just look at it on paper and their data and go, oh, okay, very expensive striker on loan, don't need to spend any money. How about we bring him back? Not a big deal.
Yeah,
but for us, it's nah. Like even if he were to pay us to come back, I'd be like, nah, mate, you're right. Especially with the whole ego situation. Now you're looking at a potential player that could come in and disrupt the dressing room and have Poch as a manager who's already got a little bit of, let's say, I don't know, doubt or that reputation in terms of not being able to handle that sort of presence in the dressing room. Lukaku needs to stay away, but I wouldn't put it past these owners to put it to Poch and go, let's bring him back.
I think,
and if that were to happen, I'd be worried.
Well, Matt Law actually wrote an article the other day saying Poch would actually be open to Lukaku coming back into the team if he would so wish to do so. But that's the key thing, is Lukaku feels just as strongly about staying away from Chelsea as what the fans do.
Too.
So that's brilliant news in that respect. But again, the owners can turn around and override it and say, well, no one wants to loan you, no one wants to pay your wages, you're going to come to Chelsea and play whether you like it or not. And then in that case, we've got a bit of a predicament. For me, Lukaku coming back into this squad is an absolute massive no. Shouldn't be given another clean slate. If Lukaku had done that when he was 17 or 18 years old, maybe we could afford to give him a bit of a blight. When he first came through the academy, when he first came through as a youngster, youngsters make mistakes. You, on the other hand, at the time were 28 or 29, possibly even 30 years old. Okay, 28 years old, right? You're old enough to know better. You've been in the game to know better. You've been high profile enough to know what to say and what not to say. Yeah, and to come into the club and to disrespect the club so early into your career, your second stint, and to do that, knowing that we've got other youngsters that are coming up that you are probably mentoring at the club as well. That's what
100%.
You decide to go and do. Ridiculous, unforgivable, and you should not be trusted. Should not be trusted. He needs to get out of here. And to be honest with you, part of me still holds the same feeling with Aubameyang, with what he did after when we got beat against Arsenal, messaging troops and having bants with him after that. I feel his career should have been done out from then. The only reason why I've been calling out for him to be a striker is because we've been down and out so bad, bro, that we just need someone to score goals. But realistically, the same energy should be kept with Aubameyang as well, and hopefully he'll be out of the door this summer.
This is the thing. Like we'd be surprised if Aubameyang doesn't leave this summer. I think he'll be gone. So that's that. But with Lukaku, like when you look at his situation at Inter, who he wants to stay there, he's not getting played, right? Mm-hmm. Inter Milan not using him. Dzeko is ahead of him. No other club are interested in him. I wonder why. His presence comes in. I genuinely don't believe that this squad that we have at the moment are in groups or cut up into clans like past squads have been, where you have group of players against a group of players where they don't get on or they don't see eye to eye. I think this squad actually have good interrelationships between themselves. You bring a Lukaku in the middle of that, he could divide that dressing room in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
just amongst the group of players.
It's true.
So G-Man,
I'm going to get to the super chats in a few minutes, but G-Man 83 just made a couple comments that I had to read out. So the first one that stood out to me is this, and I got to ask you if you feel the same. G-Man 83 says, I'd rather Lukaku than Havertz at the moment, leading the line. Would you agree with that, yes or no?
leading the line, I'd rather none. This is the thing. It shouldn't be black and white. Like if we have to choose between Lukaku and Havertz, then we're finished.
But then he says, football's funny. If he scores 20 goals next season, all will be forgotten. We are shallow like this. Could you
can't
imagine,
lie.
though? I'm not, listen, once again, I'm not advocating for him to come back.
Yeah, I don't want him back. But no, this comment makes a point in terms of the fan base in general, 100%.
Now watch this. Watch this. Let's say we get our midfield targets. Yeah? Our midfield going into this season is now Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia, and Manu Kone. Right? That is a solid midfield. A very good midfield. We've got balance there. Lukaku comes back into the squad. We've got Nkunku playing off him or whatever. And we've got another attacker floating around somewhere. Is it beyond the realm of all possibility that this guy could bag over 10, 15 goals?
Still. Like, personally, there are other strikers out there, bro. I know
that's also true. That's also very true.
Like, for me, it's too much of a risk. Not to say there won't be a reward, but it's too much of a risk to go and try and make this work with Lukaku when we realistically should use the time to go and get another striker and proceed from there.
Yeah, personally, I think we should just cut ties and get rid. And, you know, there's a couple other strikers I prefer. Although Osimhen, you already seen what Naples have gone and done. Yeah,
What have they done?
In typical Laurentiis fashion, fam. Yeah, 1 minute is 100 million euros. Now you say, I changed my mind. It's 150 million. I warn people about this guy. Do you know what I mean? And I guarantee you, someone will be crazy enough to put down that 150 million. Either us or PSG or somebody, yeah? You'll get to Naples, 175 actually. Do you know what I mean? I had a dream last night and I was told to put on an extra 25. So I'm just going to oblige and do so. This is the kind of guy that he is. He'll just pull out the price and just be like, whatever. Basically, he'll just give you the runaround. That's what he does. So I don't think we'll get Osimhen. But
how did we get Jorginho from them for like, what was it, 50?
How
did we do that?
Oh, listen, this man was a visionary. He knew, like, listen, I'm going to take this and run because I'm never going to get this again. Yeah, and then that's what happened, bro. We paid 50 M's for Jorginho, and yeah, fair play to Jorginho. Not saying that he done terrible at the club, you get me, but is what it is. You don't know how I feel about Jorginho, fam. The less said, the better. JC says, Younes, imagine if Hazard was still here. Lampard wouldn't play him because he doesn't train well.
Yeah, I completely agree. This whole thing that Lampard's doing, where it's got to be based on how hard they train, how well they train, how much they want to give, and how far they can run. I mean, that's Sunday League mentality, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, is.
It's an important attribute, yes, but it's not the be all and end all.
Absolutely
not.
Not
at this level.
Not. This whole passion merchant thing and fight for the badge only goes so far.
It's important, and it should be accompanied with.
Yeah, do you know when that works, right? Is when you've got your cohesion ready, you've got a good bit of form about you, right? And you're going, you're in a final or something, a Champions League final. And you're playing that, both teams are playing at their optimal. Do you know what I mean? That's when you go in there and you say, listen, that extra 2-3% is going to come from here and playing for the badge.
Exactly.
That's when it's that sprinkle on the top, bruv. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that you rely on. It's not a crutch that you lean on in terms of your career. It's ridiculous.
That's it. Because what? Are you ignorant enough to think the opponents are not doing the same thing? But you think you're going to be coming in and going, because we're Chelsea, right? We're going to go out there and automatically have the upper hand on whoever we're playing against. No, the others are going to be like, no, we're Brentford.
And Chelsea's still a scalp to these teams.
Exactly.
So there's the incentive naturally there already.
There we are. So it doesn't make sense. As you've said, it should be a sprinkle on the top. You should have a 98% completion on your ideas and what you're looking to do. And the extra 2% is exactly that point.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you across the line.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that in Munich, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's where it applied. We've seen it several times in the past. Fair play to those teams there. But Gabriel says, thank you for the super chat. Says we will play Bournemouth and Forest first. If we don't get results, how are we going to get results versus the top 4 remaining fixtures? Arsenal, Man United, City, and Newcastle. Wait, do we have to play United and City as well? Oh, we got to play City.
Hang on. Good morning, Guni. So, would you like a coffee? Or do you want espresso or do you want an Americano?
I knew we had Arsenal. I knew we had City. And I knew we had I just didn't know about United as well.
Bro, no, we should have played United last weekend, but it got postponed because they had their FA Cup game.
Oh, right. That's right.
So it's been rescheduled now till the second last game of the season now. In between City and Newcastle, we got to play United. So we have to go to the Etihad, and then we got to go to Old Trafford, and then we got to host Newcastle at the Bridge to end the season.
It's ridiculous. Why no Smith and Terry as interim? Well, John Terry ran a mile away, didn't he? He said, forget this. I ain't sticking around with what's going on at the club. He bounced, so I guess there's your answer.
I can't blame him now, honestly. And you know what? Looking back on it, even Nagelsmann, I can't blame him now. If he's genuinely looked and gone, nah, I don't want a part of this, fair play. Fair play. And whoever comes in, much respect. Poch comes in and accepts this, respect to him. He's straight away in my good books.
Hey, bruv, I'm telling you, there's a lot of work to do, and Poch has got so much pressure on his shoulders. It's mad. Mike Saunders says, Younes and Guni, do you all rate Ivan Toney as our number 9 next year? Me personally, I'd love to take Ivan Toney at Chelsea. I think he'd do well.
Send Lukaku to Brentford. Perfect.
He
doesn't have to go anywhere. You know, just go across the road to Brentford. There you are, down the M4. Is it? I think that takes you past Brentford. Yeah, just go down there. 15-minute drive max. You're at Brentford.
320k a week. This man's on.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
And so is Raheem Sterling, I think, or close to that.
How much is Ivan Toney on? Do we know?
I'd be surprised if he was even on 100k a week. I'd be very surprised.
Nah, less. Brentford ain't got that sort of.
That's what I'm saying. How much is Ivan Toney gambling? No, I mean on a
No
week.
way. He's on 21k a week. Oh mate, sign him up.
Days.
Sign him up. He's on $1 million a year. That's a bargain.
I mean he's on a pittance for a Premier League player.
Lukaku makes that in 3.5 weeks.
That's what I mean. It's ridiculous. It's affordable, but I think Brentford will probably ask for about 60 tops. 60 tops for him.
Fair enough.
And that's even with English tax on top of that as well. But we should probably take away gambling tax from the price. Some risk assessment should go into that price tag as well, Brentford. You know what I mean?
Ivan Toney's the sort of guy, if he was playing at Chelsea, he'd be betting against us right now.
He probably is already, bruv.
He'd be the only one coming into training going, morning, lads. How you doing?
That's funny, but yeah, Ivan Toney, bruv, he's not on nothing. Exactly, that's affordable. How much is? I'm not even gonna check for Osimhen because we're not even gonna go for this guy. We're not gonna.
His salary?
Yeah.
Apparently he is on 93k a week.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Ivan Toney, so that just tells me like he's just gettable. Regardless of if we're in the Champions League or not, I actually reckon he would come to Chelsea. And literally it's just a stone throw away as well from each other. Doesn't mean like he'll have to, move to a new location, etc., etc. But it is what it is. Osimhen won't come to us, 90k a week roughly. I don't think he will. There's a lot of talk about Harry Kane coming to Chelsea. I don't see that happening. I don't see Tottenham selling to us. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one manager on the planet that has some sort of a chance, it would probably be Poch. But Tottenham, I don't think will ever do business with us.
Yeah, the badge is a massive neutralizer when it comes to that. So people that are hoping that Kane would come to Chelsea, don't hold your breath.
Spurs fans will be out with their pitchforks.
Yeah, exactly. I highly doubt that.
Literally.
They're already not too happy about Pochettino coming to Chelsea. So imagine that as
Exactly.
well to add salt to the wounds and all that. Mad thing. Look at this. Manu Kone, 37k a week. Lavia, 25k a week. Very affordable, gettable players.
Yeah.
On good authority as well. Manu Kone is a die-hard Chelsea fan. Die-hard Chelsea fan, and throughout the transfer window you might see some interesting things about that transfer, but anyway, let me not say too much, you get me, but keep an eye on that one. I reckon he will be a Chelsea player, Manu Kone. As for Lavia, you never know with Man City being in the mix as well. But Younes, we're going to be on a live stream at 5:30 p.m. UK time, 12:30 p.m. New York time on Never a Foul. We'll be joined by Northside, I believe Guns as well, aka Lee Gunner. Obviously Cass and one or two others. So people, make sure you check that live stream out. But before we go, Younes, let the people them know what you've got coming up.
Yeah, so over on Younes Talks Football, I will see what the latest is. I'm guessing there's no game for us this weekend. We got to wait till Tuesday to play Arsenal, so preview for that will be on Monday. Before that, I'm just guessing it's going to be what the latest is, and whether that's Chelsea and elsewhere. I'll give my thoughts on it.
Okay, so as for this channel, just look out for a pre-upload that will be going up at some point this evening. And just make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're new. Give the video a thumbs up as well. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you are watching afterwards. And as for these series of questions here, actually, let me get through though, because I know you've been wanting to ask these questions real quick. So last questions I'm going to answer. Are the owners ever going to allow employees to run the show? We've asked that question here many times, whether they're going to let the recruitment do their thing or not. I guess we're going to see in the long term as to whether that's really the case. What's the guarantee we'll return to winning ways under these owners? There never is. There's no guarantee of winning ways under any kind of ownership. That's the truth. While I don't believe Pochettino will get trophies, what's your take? Okay, so I'll give mine real quick, and Younes will for the last time. So with Pochettino, I believe he's the right profile of manager to come in and at least take this team to a level where we're playing respectable football and potentially competing for stuff. Will it all happen straight away? I'm not expecting for that to happen. But with him, one game a week, I would like a very, very strong run in top four next season and perhaps a trophy to go with it, a domestic trophy or something to go with it, or to get to a final at bare minimum. But I think he's got the tools to do so. Any player that has worked under this guy, youth players, senior players, they've all said his man management is second to none. They very much rate him and they enjoy working with Mauricio Pochettino. So hopefully, man, we've got to get behind our manager. If he's going to be our manager, we've got to get behind him regardless of how we feel, man. We're all Chelsea at the end of the day. But Younes, I'll let you answer the question before we end the stream.
Yeah, no, mine's fairly similar. Do I think that he'll come in and at least, I don't want to use steer the ship. I actually think if we're looking to, bounce back next season to a top 6 or so, I think we'll get there. The problem is for me beyond that, and wherever I think that he has it in him to do what he's not done in his career before, which is actually take us on to like a challenge regularly for trophies and compete and even win. I don't know. So look, because we're in the gutter and we are where we are, I think it's safe to say we would all take Poch for now. The one thing that I have to stress, we better not see another 5-year contract. I swear, if we see another 5-year deal, then these owners clearly have just cemented their names on the dotted line as they haven't got a clue.
Well, apparently it looks like it could be another long-term contract, man.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it could be another long-term contract. Don't be surprised. And listen,
are they stupid?
I'm not saying this will happen. I am not saying this will happen. But do not be surprised if you hear Pochettino has signed a 7-year deal or a 6-year deal or something ridiculous like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm very much not with that. I think it would be ridiculous considering what's happened in the past. No, I'm being dead serious.
Are they high?
Well, We're about to find out. We're about to find out.
Bro, what are they smoking, man? Nah, nah, man, that's nah. 18 months, 2 years at max 3 at max.
That would be the sensible thing to do. That would be the sensible, and a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with you. People, 3 years. A lot of people say, bro, don't be surprised if it's one of those ridiculously long-term contracts. Yeah, don't be surprised. Like I said, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I've heard from several places that it's a possibility.
Flipping hell.
Yeah. And in that case, people, like I said, give the video a thumbs up. Also, leave your thoughts in the comment. People are saying they've seen 2 + 1, 18 to 24 months. So I don't know, like mixed reports, but I definitely know that I've seen the long-term thing floating around as well. So, but yeah, man, all of that good stuff. People, big up yourself. And as usual, Gareth Southgate, see you later.